Hi, I'm Dave Wurzel, and you're watching PHTV4 Bookshelf. And with me today is my co-host, Michelle Vanderwood, who's a staff member at the Palos Heights Library in the Public Services Department. Michelle, thank you for being here today.
You're welcome. My
And
pleasure.
good to have you on the show. Michelle and I are going to recommend a variety of books from a variety of categories. And we're going to share some that have been out for a while, and then we're going to jump to some titles that have just come out this month and some titles that are coming out in May. And so let's kind of jump right in. We're actually going to start with a book that's been out already. Michelle, you're going to talk about this one, I think, kind of a special book because of what it means to our community. So let's take a look at this. In the local hero, good for teens, young adults, and adults category, Michelle, what have you got?
I've got As Fast as Her, Dream Big, Break Barriers, Achieve Success. And this is by Kendall Coyne with Estelle Lore, which came out actually in January of 2022. Now, the cool part is Kendall grew up in Palos Heights and attended Carl Sandburg High School. So our local hero, in addition to her hockey success, is now adding author to her list of achievements. So according to Amazon, quote, decorated U.S. Olympian and accomplished hockey star Kendall Coyne shares the grit and determination it took to break down barriers and achieve her dreams against tremendous odds, encouraging you to follow your passions and never give up, which is awesome, of course. As Fast as Her explores how Kendall held on to her dream, overcame her insecurities, defied her naysayers, pushed herself past barriers to achieve her goals, and how you can too.
Sounds like an incredible book. I haven't read it yet. It's actually on my nightstand. It's waiting for me to pick it up and finish a book. And I know this is also a big one for the library. You guys hosted an event with Kendall Coyne, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, not too long ago. I know you had a great turnout for it.
Very good turnout. Yes.
And you had books available and autographs were being done. Yeah, it sounds incredible. And having had a chance to meet her, yeah, this is the grit and determination. That's her. So definitely want to recommend this book. Good. All right, we're going to jump to another category. The category we're going to take a look at, I'll do this one, is going to be, in case you missed them, historical fiction mysteries. Now, these books have been out for a while. They're part of a series. And in this one, we're going to take a look first at The Ashes of London by Andrew Taylor, which is the first book in a 5-book series of historical crime mysteries. They're set in London during the fire of 1666 and then the years following. And I'm going to have to tell you, having read these, I didn't intend to. I wasn't like, oh, yeah, this is a time period I'm into, or, the London fire, great. No, I just wanted to try a historical fiction mystery, and they're good. They're entertaining. And like I said, there are 5 books out now. And, you're going to follow the adventures of the 2 main characters, James Marwood and Kat Lovett. And they get involved in all kinds of court intrigue and crimes and murders in London, and they're entertaining. They're entertaining reads. So if you want to look for a historical fiction mystery, and we're going to stay in the same category, I'm going to recommend another series that's been out, and the first 2 books are out in this one. The third one is coming out in December of this year, so you have a ways to go for the third one. Big time jump here. In this series, we're going to take a look at another historical fiction mystery, but now we're jumping to 2 characters. The Pentecost and Parker mystery series, Fortune Favors the Dead, is the first one. The author is Stephen Spotswood. And the first book is set in New York City in 1942. A few pages in, it jumps to 1945, and that's where we're at. And I'll quote Amazon on this one. I think a wildly charming and fast-paced mystery written with the panache of the hard-boiled classics. Fortune Favors the Dead introduces Lillian Pentecost and Willow Jean Will Parker, an audacious new detective duo for the ages. It definitely has a little bit noir feel to it. And we've got 2 female main characters, a nice little spin on the detective thing. And it's good. They're entertaining. They're fun reads. And if you like them, you've got a third one coming out in December. So those are books that have been out for a while, and something a little different, or maybe under the radar if you missed them. And so let's jump to some April books have been published in April, and some bigger names maybe. And I think, Michelle, you're going to go first with our title.
Okay, yeah. In April, coming out is The Candy House by Jennifer Egan. The category we're calling this one is literary Psychological fiction. From one of the most celebrated authors of our time, an electrifying, deeply moving novel about the quest for authenticity and meaning in a world where memories and identities are no longer private. The Candy House is a bold, brilliant imagining of a world that is moments away. Egan takes to stunning new heights her, quote, deeply intuitive forays into the darker aspects of our technology-driven, image-saturated culture. And that was a quote from Vogue.
I'd say just that last line makes me want to pick it up because the technology-driven, the environment we're in, that culture. And obviously Jennifer Egan is a big name.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at a Pulitzer Prize winning author here. Okay, something for somebody to take a look at. I'm going to take a look at another book that's out in April, and that's by Sally Hepworth. It's in our psychological thriller category, The Younger Wife. This was an Amazon Best Book of April 2022. And let me give you their description. If it's true that we're only as sick as our secrets, then the sicknesses piling up in the affluent Aston family and the younger wife make them overdue for a reckoning. You've got shoplifting, you've got emotional overeating, and you've got a dad who's trading in an Alzheimer's afflicted wife for a younger blonde version. But she's got a few secrets of her own. And then there's the church wedding that morphs into a church murder. A mesmerizing whodunit who reveals itself as actually a whodunit all along. And this comes from Amazon. Sounds interesting. Again, and we've got another New York Times best-selling author here, and the psychological thriller, I like the twist. Okay.
Yeah, that one sounds very interesting. The next one up is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. The category we chose for this one is heartwarming, humorous, historical fiction. Good Morning America Book Club Pick. That's what this one is. It's a Good Morning America Book Club Pick. A must-read debut. Meet Elizabeth Zott, a one-of-a-kind scientist in the 1960s, California, whose career takes a detour when she becomes the unlikely star of a beloved TV cooking show in this novel that is, quote, irresistible, satisfying, and full of fuel. It reminds you that change takes time and always requires heat. And that's a New York Times book review quote.
It sounds like a fun book. I like that it's historical fiction, but set in the 1960s. So it's not the deep historical fiction, but still historical fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And it does sound like a fun read.
It does.
All right, we've got another big name author coming up here, Anne Perry, and this one we're calling an atmospheric historical mystery. This book is set in the early 1900s, London, England. This is book 5 in the Daniel Pitt series. So, readers who are familiar with Anne Perry in this series. A killer's on the loose, targeting victims with a mysterious connection that young barrister Daniel Pitt must deduce before more bodies pile up. In this intricately woven mystery from New York Times bestselling author Anne Perry. And I love these atmospheric historical mysteries. And again, Anne Perry, obviously a New York Times bestselling author, definitely something to take a look at.
Absolutely. The next book I would like to talk about is The Good Left Undone by Adriana Trigiani. The category is family saga historical fiction. From a master of visual and palpable details, says the Washington Post, comes a lush, immersive novel about 3 generations of Tuscan artists with one remarkable secret. Epic in scope and resplendent with the glorious themes of identifying and belonging, The Good Left Undone unfolds in breathtaking turns.
Again, I'm partial to historical fiction, and now this one we've got a kind of a generational story. An epic quality covers a broader time period, and I think it does move through, that World War II period again too. That's part of it. All right, good. All right, let's jump to this. So those are some April titles we're going to recommend. Let's jump to May. Take a sneak peek at some titles coming out soon, and we're going to jump to Michelle. This is your category, a rom-com, heartwarming crowd pleaser. Why don't you tell us about this book?
Oh, everyone loves a good rom-com. All right, this one is called Book Lovers. So it's a little pun for you, by Emily Henry. One summer, 2 rivals, a plot twist they didn't see coming, Okay, it's that kind of book like that. Nora Stevens' life and books, she's read them all. She is not that type of heroine, not the plucky one, not the laid back dream girl, and especially not the sweetheart. While on a trip to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina, with her sister Libby, Nora keeps bumping into Charlie Lastra, this bookish, brooding editor from back in the city. It would be a meet cute if not for the fact that they've met many times and it's never been very cute. If Nora knows she's not an ideal heroine, well, Charlie knows he's nobody's hero. But as they're thrown together again and again and again in a series of coincidences no editor worth their salt would allow, what they discover might just unravel the carefully crafted stories they've written about themselves.
This sounds like it might be a nice escape read, right? If you want something fun and,
That's all rom-coms, I think.
Yeah, maybe all of them. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed looking at all the books we're talking about, there's going to be a theme here in a second. I think I'm taking the next one, and we've got another book in the title here. This one is, I made up this category only because of reading descriptions of it. I loved what James Rollins said here. If you're familiar with this author, writes a variety of action-packed thrillers, adventures type stories. This is Book of Night by Holly Black. And in the category, he said this: if Neil Gaiman channeled Stephen King, and then it goes on, this is the type of book you might get. Just connecting Neil Gaiman and Stephen King, I love the potential in it. So we've got another New York Times bestselling author here, right? Holly Black. And this is the description we get. This is a modern dark fantasy of betrayals, cobbles, a dissolute thief of shadows in the vein of Neil Gaiman. This is somebody else making a comparison, and Aaron Morgenstern. The main character, Charlie Hall, has never found a lock she couldn't pick, a book she couldn't steal, or a bad decision she wouldn't make. And I love that part. A bad decision she wouldn't make. In this book, she's up against a cast of doppelgangers, mercurial billionaires, Glomus, and the people she loves best in the world, all trying to steal the secret that will give them vast and terrible power. I'm going to tell you, just all the description about this book makes me intrigued.
Absolutely, especially the Neil Gaiman part. He writes very interesting, very creepy, fun stuff.
Yeah. So let's take a look at another, and I think we've got our third book with something entitled, in the common title with the previous two titles.
Right. This is another historical fiction, The Bookwoman's Daughter by Kim Michelle Richardson. Best-selling historical fiction author Kim Michelle Richardson is back with the perfect book club read following Honey Lovett, the daughter of the beloved Troublesome Creek book woman who must fight for her own independence with the help of the woman who guides her and the books that set her free. This is actually book 2 in the series. And the ruggedness of the beautiful Kentucky mountains, and Honey Lovett has always known them, the old ways would make life harder. As the daughter of famous blue-skinned Trouble Creek packhorse librarian from the first book, Honey and her family have been hiding from the law all her life. But when her mother and father are imprisoned, Honey realizes she must fight to stay free or risk being sent away for good.
Again, it sounds interesting. You got the second book in the series. The first one was very popular. So definitely, a book people may want to take a look at. All right. Let's see. I think I've got the next one here, and we've got a beach read. This is by Jennifer Weiner, The Summer Place. And this one is a testament to family in all its messy glory. And I love the reality and that kind of thing, right? A story about what we sacrifice and how we forgive, enthralling, witty, big-hearted, and sharply observed. This is Jennifer Weiner's love letter to the outer Cape and the power of home, the way our lives are enriched by the people we call family, and the endless ways love can surprise us. And again, that sounds like a classic beach read to me. And, touching at the heart of, family is messy at times, right? But hopefully fun read too, based on the description here.
It does.
So that one will be out. Yeah. All right. This is, let's see, another author connected to Palos Heights Library, actually in a program from last year.
Oh, yes. With the Lioness and Chris Bajalian. All right, this is another historical one, but it's a historical thriller this time. So, in this book, a luxurious African safari turns deadly for a Hollywood starlet and her entourage in this riveting historical thriller from the New York Times bestselling author of The Flight Attendant. So, that's the same author.
Right. And I think you, the library, hosted a book interview with him after the Hour of the Witch had come out. And again, this author is very, very, popular. And again, I like the historical context. The setting sounds interesting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to when this one comes out in May. And I think, Michelle, you're going to take one more book here, right?
Yeah. This Time Tomorrow by Emma Straub. All right. So the category for this one is time travel fiction. Like, if you could go back in time, what if you could take a vacation to your past? So, with her celebrated humor, insight, and heart, beloved New York Times bestseller Emma Straub offers her own twist on traditional time travel tropes and a different kind of love story. So, on the eve of her 40th birthday, Alice's life isn't terrible. She likes her job, even if it isn't exactly the one she expected. She's happy with her apartment, her romantic status, and her independence. And she adores her lifelong best friend. But her father is ailing, and it feels to her as if something is missing. When she wakes up the next morning, she finds herself back in 1996, reliving her 16th birthday. Oh, that one sounds very interesting. I don't know if I would want to relive my 16th birthday.
I know. I had the same thought. I'm like, I don't know if I want to start over at 16. However, I love the premise, right? Like, what if you could go back in time and, you think about decisions you made in your life or things that happened, that maybe trying to change them or write them in some way if you wanted to, or just to even re-experience or see people in your life again at that point,
And I know there's a twist with the time travel at some point in this book too.
Good. So this one sounds like it's got a lot of potential, and that one will be out later in May. So again, there's a lot of good titles, I think, for people to take a look at, a wide variety of things. Michelle, thank you, for helping put together this list, and thank you for taking time to make these recommendations.
Of course, it was my pleasure.
So thank you for joining us today on Bookshelf. I'm Dave Wurzel, and you've been watching a show about finding books. Thank you for watching, and good reading.